What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Alright, in today's video, we're going to be talking about Marauders number 17 by Jerry Duggan and Matteo Lolli. And in this video, we are going to learn that Emma Frost got an ace up her sleeve that's going to make a callback to last year's giant-size X-Men Magneto comic, as well as a power play move that's actually going to be a callback to the Marauder series' earliest dealings with the shady nation of Madripoor. And more importantly in this issue, we are going to see a rematch of one of the most iconic battles in the history of the X-Men. That's right, a battle between Callisto and Storm. But the question is, why? We're gonna talk about all that and more right now, but first, let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple eyes. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Okay, so real quick, let's go ahead and get this one out of the way because I feel like this is going to be one of the things that can be really easily summed up. Some of you may remember last year's giant-size X-Men Magneto issue where Magneto worked with Prince Namor of Atlantis to discover some sort of device, something that I didn't really understand exactly what it was supposed to be about. All we knew is that by the end of the issue, Magneto had created something for Emma Frost, something that she seemed to be quite smitten with, some new structure that had the head of a sentinel facing out of it and was quite an angular building. I was kind of into it. But the whole point is they built this place on land that used to belong to Namor. And apparently Emma Frost had plans for it. She said that she was going to send invitations and see who shows up. Well, now we know exactly what's going on here because in the beginning of this issue, we see that Emma is revisiting the whole incident with Sebastian Shaw and Kate Pryde. And when we see it, she just can't seem to get past it. Something is still bothering her about this entire incident. She is taking it incredibly close to heart and she still isn't happy with the justice that they seem to have meted out. So she starts vetting the rest of the suspects. She wants to know if Shinobi Shaw, Sebastian Shaw's son, has anything to do with it, who we do learn once she goes through his mind that is not the case. He knew absolutely nothing about it. That's pretty much the most that we get out of Shinobi Shaw in this issue, though I do want to say there's a really funny bit later on that I wonder if it's going to actually pay dividends off when Emma reveals that Shinobi actually looks more like Sebastian's old partner, Harry Leland of the Hellfire Club, and even mentions that, oddly enough, Shinobi seems to have a power set that's actually closer in kind to what Leland actually possessed because he could actually increase the mass of a person that was either near him or within about roughly 350 feet of him. You see, Shinobi has something very similar. Now, he can't do this to other people, but he can manipulate the mass and gravity of his own body. He can either change his density to being completely intangible, a la Kate Pryde, or he can increase his density to make himself as tough as steel. They are heavily emphasizing that both A, Harry Leland is going to wind up coming back very soon, and B, it is a very strong possibility that Shinobi is not Sebastian's actual son, that Harry Leland might be the pappy. If they go this route, I actually kind of want to see how this plays out. I really want to see how this plays out. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. She basically wipes his mind that they had ever even encountered one another. The other end of this, though, is that we learn she is going to use this land that she has recently procured, and she is going to be sending out invitations. Now, these invitations are not going to be to just any old body. Most of the people that she is inviting are not mutants. This is something we learn when she speaks with Jumbo Carnation and Saucier. They realize, wait a minute, most of the people are going to be human. What's up with that? She is sending out these invitations to a very select few people. We do learn from X-Desk that all the people being invited are somehow involved in the intelligence community. That most of the guests include ambassadors, heads of state, and metahuman associates of the X-Men, which likely means we are gonna see some Avengers, maybe even possibly Black Panther. Right now, there are some people within X-Desk who seem to believe the Krakoans are gonna try to assassinate anyone who shows up to this meeting. One of the people we do see get invited is going to be the Verendi. Kate Pryde, after making a brief tour to stop off at the home of the family who took care of Lockheed while Kate was dead, dropping off some money to them to help them pay off the people of Madripoor who are trying to take over their home. We see that Kate would later move on to the Verendi house, and she simply shows up not to start a fight, but to simply drop off a letter, and this letter is an invitation, something that Madame Zhao of the Verendi, who you must remember earlier in the pages of Marauders, is the woman whose husband she claimed was abducted by the X-Men because he touched a Krakoan gate. Turned out she had actually abducted him, and the Marauders had outed her for her lies in public. And of course, she later threw in her lot with the Verendi. One of the reasons why this could be is because Emma Frost has just recently, under the terms of the new agreement with Sebastian Shaw in the wake of his treachery regarding the murder of Kate Pryde, they have flipped sides. You see, Emma used to handle the front face of the company. She used to handle businesses abroad who were in open contact with Krakoa, while Sebastian handled the more seedier and more black market interest of Krakoa. Well, that has now changed. Sebastian Shaw is going to be made the front face of the company, at least in regards to dealing with the countries and nations who are already on board with Krakoa, while Emma is now handling those more seedier ventures. We also know that she is buying up random properties, random homes and areas in Madripoor. It seems like Emma is going to be messing with the Verendi's interests in particular, especially considering how the Verendi messed with the Krakoan drugs, trying to taint them and therefore mess with Krakoa's money and their reputation. What exactly is Emma's endgame here? There's no real telling. However, I do think it is definitely not good news for the Verendi. Now, the other thing you're probably interested in here is that on the cover of this book, and it was the thing that actually grabbed my attention first because it is the cover and that's usually what grabs people's attention when they are looking at comics, but we see that Callisto, former leader of the Morlocks, and Storm are going toe-to-toe, blow for blow on this cover, and it's like, okay, well, what's going on here? Why are they fighting it out with one another? And we learn in this issue that Callisto, she finds Storm while she's hanging out on a cliff's edge of the island. Callisto seems to be privy to some information that Storm has not shared with anybody, and it's the fact that she's going to be leaving soon. Now, whether that means leaving the Marauders or leaving Krakoa, it's hard to say, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's safe to say she's probably leaving the island. And it's even been posited that Storm is going to be getting her own solo series sometime this year, so that would make sense. But that said, Callisto is here for a very specific reason. She wants to go through the Crucible, and it's something that is not even really hemmed and hawed about. It's just a thing that is brought up. Callisto is musing about what life was like for her back before M-Day, even talking about how Wanda Maximoff halfway killed her by taking her powers when she uttered the phrase, "No more mutants," essentially causing the mutant decimation that we all know of from House of M. And this is something that has cut Callisto to the quick because she has been of this island, and something I didn't even really consider is the fact that, yeah, she's been depowered this entire time. For some reason, I had forgotten about the fact that she didn't have her abilities. So she has been without her heightened senses, and it's something that's been kind of bothering her because now she feels like everything around her isn't real anymore. She feels like everything around her is some kind of artificial facsimile. And right now, she wants Storm's help. And Storm does say that she doesn't disapprove of going through the Crucible. She just chooses to not participate in it. Why does Callisto want her to help her fight in the Crucible and die? And Callisto reveals that because Apocalypse is gone, she can't face him. And more importantly, when Storm brings up the notion of, well, why not fight Wolverine? Callisto brings up the point that, yeah, I like knives, but I don't like getting cut. And she wants someone who she trusts. But Storm does not want to help her. She doesn't want to be a privy to this because she already has things weighing on her soul, namely her betrayal of Wakanda and also the events that she witnessed during Ten of Swords. Storm is going through a bit of an existential crisis, and she is not in any particular emotional or spiritual or mental space to give Callisto what she wants. But Callisto is going to go through it anyway, and when she goes to the Crucible, she appears dressed to kill in the Silver Samurai is the one who offers to face her in combat. However, we learn that the Fenris siblings have also volunteered. They want to get involved in the fight against Callisto as well. But I actually love this bit of commentary about Fenris, how these characters are basically just mutant racists, because they were white supremacists. Supposedly, they claim they've been on their best behavior since they've been on Krakoa, but I love the fact that nobody likes them. It's one of those situations where it's like, yeah, just because we're mutants, just because we're all on the island together doesn't mean we're bosom buddies now. I even appreciate what Callisto says in regards to facing them, that if she does fight them, she's not going to wind up in the Arbor Magna, which is, where they resurrect mutants, but she's going to wind up in the hole where Sabretooth is, because she's going to do something so awful, so terrifying to them that the mutants of Krakoa would not allow her in polite society ever again. But what I love about this is that Storm does actually pull up, and more importantly, when Callisto offers her a blade to fight back against her, Storm says, I have everything I need right here. And they duke it out, and it's awesome because if you go back and look at the pages of Uncanny X-Men number 170 and then come back and look at this precise scene, I promise you'll notice Storm remembers exactly the way Callisto fights and does not make any of the same mistakes when she sees Callisto go for the same moves she tried to use on her way back when. And I love the fact that Storm, she goes in regular. She doesn't need a knife, she doesn't need a weapon, but what I love is she uses her abilities in a way that we don't really see her use very often, and she heart punches Callisto, channeling electricity through her punch and zapping her heart, killing her. I even love the touch of seeing the smoke coming out of Callisto's mouth from where her heart, for all intents and purposes, fried. And Storm clutches Callisto like everyone there at the Crucible, even Fenris, they look like they're even touched by what they just witnessed. Like, they're just like, oh my God, like, this, like, what? I love the beauty and even the subtle beauty in what is going on here, even seeing that Storm is the one who presents her when she is resurrected, like she has done for so many other mutants. Like Storm, once again, being that mother hen, being that voice, that moral compass of Krakoa in ways that I don't think any other character could possibly be. And I love the fact that Callisto has once again gotten her abilities back and is able to be herself once more. Another thing I actually dig about this is that when we see this happen, something has changed with Callisto, because we see that she's able to somehow bend light around her. This is something that I don't remember. This is a power I don't remember her ever having before. And I don't know if like she's, if this is some kind of second mutation or whatever. I don't know, but I'm kind of here for it. I'm digging this. Like she somehow has gained some kind of ability to, I guess, vaguely turn invisible. That would be pretty awesome. I'm down. Let's go. I want to see this. I want to see more of this. I want to see characters getting their powers back and coming back with a little cherry on top. It's actually something that was pretty cool. And I love the fact that Storm was the one who was able to give Callisto the death that she had been waiting for. Callisto, for the most part, as we've seen her since Dawn of X, she's kind of been mostly dejected, mostly just kind of in her feelings a lot. But for the most part, we haven't really seen her have anything close to a smile. And now we've kind of seen it. And I gotta admit, man, I would love nothing more. And I feel like this is something I say all the time, but I would love nothing more than a comic with just Storm and Callisto, because I feel like those are two characters who have grown so much since their first encounter with one another. And I feel like Storm and Callisto just have really good back and forth with each other. Like Callisto with her kind of rebel, devil-may-care attitude, and Storm with her more regal, more stoic demeanor. It's just something that they play so well off each other. I'm almost surprised that Jerry Duggan didn't bring Callisto into the fold earlier and gave Storm and Callisto more time with one another to really drive this whole thing home. But either way, doesn't matter. I loved what I saw here. That said, if you guys enjoyed this video, please Hulk smash that like button, share this video around, put it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever the hell you choose, spread it all over the place, and more importantly, let me know what you thought about Marauders number 17 by Jerry Duggan and Matteo Lolli. How do you feel about Callisto and Storm going toe-to-toe in the Crucible so that Callisto can get her powers back? And more importantly, do you think this is some kind of second mutation that was triggered in Callisto by her being resurrected? And how do you feel about what Emma Frost is plotting to do with her new island in regards to the Verendi? Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.